Craig's here.
Thank
Craig
you,
is here.
Craig.
I
Yeah,
actually
thank you,
really don't
Craig.
like Craig.
Yeah? Yeah, you don't like
No,
Craig?
already off to a
Yeah?
bad start.
Okay, cool.
Craig's our
All
guy
right.
in the booth.
I don't like Craig.
Yeah,
Can we get a new guy?
No, we can't get a new guy.
Craig's doing this for free, so
Yeah.
you better appreciate Craig's contributions.
We can definitely get we can go cheaper than free. Like
Yeah.
like we can find someone who will do it for like literally pay us to do it. But I
Yeah?
just don't like Craig's vibes.
You don't Craig saw you from across the room and liked your vibes. Hi everyone and welcome to Burnout Culture, where industry sucks and so do we. My name is Kazuma Hashimoto. I am one of 3 hosts on this podcast, and today I am joined by Cullen and GC.
Hey,
Hello.
hi, how are you?
I'm Cullen. I'm the white one.
I'm GC. I'm the less white one.
It's okay, I'm half white, so
Oh fuck, we're all white.
Yeah.
There's some rules I learned at podcast school, and I think we've already broken all of them. Rule 1, don't all be white. So, that's not great. Rule 2, record about 3 episodes of the podcast and just never release them. We're too impatient for that, so you're getting it raw. Rule 3, did I already say rule 3? Am I going out of order with rules? Whatever.
No, you're on track.
Rule 3, always show up dressed like you're going to work. I am wearing my usual business attire of jeans and a Final Fantasy 13 t-shirt with an inside-out hoodie, so I'm set there. You guys set?
Yeah.
Anyone in pajamas? What are we doing?
I'm wearing sweats right now because I'm recovering from a cold because I got sick in London. So
did you take PTO for the pod boss?
Yeah, I did.
Okay, good.
I filed
right.
I filed my request. It was denied, but
that is why you're here.
Exactly.
And rule 3 was don't make a podcast.
You said rule 3 twice.
Rule 3 is don't make a podcast.
Rule 3A, don't make a podcast. Rule 3B, sometimes maybe make a podcast.
Rule 3BC, wear that Final Fantasy 13 t-shirt.
Yeah. So for anyone that isn't familiar with our work, I mostly deal in media criticism, script writing, and narrative design. You can find my stuff on like Polygon, Inverse, the magazine, and my usual hunt, Silicon Era. You guys want to share what you guys peddle in as well?
Sure. I'm GC. You can find me on youtube.com/GC Vazquez. I do video game videos, video essays, reviews, analyses, retrospectives. I pretty much do everything. Kind of a variety creator.
And I am Cullen. I am a full-time software dev, part-time vibe master on the internet. I do YouTube videos on. Well, okay, so it's weird. It's a story. Technically, if you search Cullen on YouTube, that's me, but I couldn't get the name, so it's like Culien, and the I is like uppercase, so it looks like an L. It's whatever. But I also do reviews for RPG Site and Nintendo Insider.
So, as our introductory episode, do we want to give a little bit of backstory as why we decided to do a podcast together?
Sure.
Because I feel like people would be pretty interested in that. Not just because like there are loads of podcasts from like journalists and stuff popping up right now as everyone's sort of making their own independent site, but we can share the tale of how Like a Dragon Infinite Wealth was driving all of us insane.
It goes further than that, actually. For a bit of extra context, before we met Kazuma, GC and I used to run a little rinky-dink podcast on Twitch where we would meet weekly. It was called the Vibecast. And we stopped doing that because it was hard to keep up weekly. And then we met Kazuma, and the one thing we all have in common is that we're fans of... Well, okay, fans. We are players of the Like a Dragon series.
We are consumers of Like a Dragon.
At some point, we were all fans to an extent.
I'm a literal meme in the community. Like, if you have liked this series, you have more than likely seen a picture of me. Like, I'm not kidding.
And I am also somewhat of a meme in the community, but for different reasons. Anyway, we'll eventually get into that at some point, maybe. But yeah, the podcast idea all began with Infinite Wealth driving us all crazy. Who wants to tell the story of Shitburger?
I don't.
I don't.
Okay.
I don't think we should.
Oh,
I
you
think
don't want to tell the story? Okay, fine.
I think Shitburger should loom over all the viewers
Well,
and just be like, "What is Shitburger?"
essentially,
Yeah, you could tell Shitburger.
Yeah,
I
tell
can
Shitburger.
sum it up. Okay. Oh, you want me to tell Shitburger?
Yeah,
Okay.
tell Shitburger.
Oh, okay. All right. So, audience, if you will, enter the theater of the mind with me. Come inside the theater of the mind. Right? Okay. So, imagine, if you will, a place that sells the worst food you can imagine. Just the worst food you can imagine. And you're sitting there with this food in your hands, and you're kind of forcibly shoving it down your throat, and everyone around you is going, "Yay, we love this! This is so good! This is the best thing we've ever had!" Meanwhile, you begrudgingly stare out the window of this establishment, and across the street, your friend Cullen is having a delicious steak inside a Brazilian steakhouse, maybe. Or maybe it's just a regular good old-fashioned steakhouse where they sell everything for $50 a piece.
And you know I got it medium rare.
And
You
and
know I got it
you
medium
definitely
rare.
got a medium rare. And he's smiling to himself. And it's not a big smile, it's a soft smile. It's the kind of smile that, like, a father makes when he stares into his newborn child. And you can hear him say, "This is the best thing I've ever tasted in my life." And a single tear falls down from his face. Smash cut back to what you're eating, and the only thing you can think of is, "Man, I should really start a podcast so I can talk about how much I don't like this food."
To put it into context, I had already stopped playing Infinite Wealth because I was playing it for work, and I had moved on to Assassin's Creed. And the fact that I was just like playing Assassin's Creed and having a great time made me really realize how much I didn't like Infinite Wealth. So we were all in a call together, and I was like experiencing the whimsy of Victorian London. And Cullen was having a blast with Persona, and GC was just bemoaning having to play Infinite Wealth.
Because GC is the kind of person where if you put the food in front of him, he's gonna clean his plate before he moves on to the dessert. I go, that's icky. I don't want that, and I throw the plate in the garbage and I go eat dessert.
To be fair to Shitburger, if we're
Yes.
keeping the metaphor alive, I don't completely despise Infinite Wealth. I actually had a really good time with it. I just played it with dread in my heart because at any moment that series will just drop a huge, like, it'll just take its mask off for a brief moment, hiss at you, and then put it back on, and you'll sit there and go, "Did anyone else see that? Did anyone else is anyone else paying attention?"
And the entire room's like, "Shitburger, Shitburger."
And it's just one of those things where Infinite Wealth, for me, just like, if you like Infinite Wealth and you're having a great time with it and you're enjoying it, good for you.
Yeah, for real.
Happy for you. Great. I found it very middling. And I thought a lot of the stuff that they talked about in Infinite Wealth was pretty sus, pretty sketchy. And it bothered me. It bothered me that the public perception wasn't picking up on those things that didn't go with me. And I discovered that my friends, Cullen and Kazuma, both shared in that perspective. And then we spent, I don't know how long. I think we spent like several days just talking about how we didn't like Infinite Wealth and like the things that we didn't like about Infinite Wealth. And then eventually Kazuma was just like, you guys want to start a podcast? Which is where every conversation eventually goes if it goes on for long enough.
Oh yeah. And I do need to make clear, since this is our first episode and we'll probably reach outside of our typical circles. We like to exaggerate. If you like Infinite Wealth, that's fine. And we will not spend this whole podcast harping on it, but it is the story on how we met.
Oh yeah, solid 7 out of 10. Maybe
Yeah,
6 out of 10.
I'll give it a 5.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'll give it a dropped, and I'll go back to it when I'm done with Persona.
I just think, in this regard, how I feel about that game, I know too much about certain social issues in Japan. So as I am like playing this game, I'm like ripping my hair out only because I know what is in the game will get misinterpreted as being like a net positive. And that's why I feel really strongly about the game. But at the same time, I'm like, I'm not going to play any more Yakuza games after this. So I'm like, just, like 07 saluting, like I'm gone, I'm out.
You are free.
Yeah, I'm free. Now I can go play every single entry
Assassin's
in the
Creed.
Assassin's Creed series. Yeah. I can find, another government assigned white boy to like I'm not explaining that joke, but I think this is a great segue into talking about media that we've been engaging with for like, I guess, like the past couple of weeks since we wanted to start this podcast, which is very serious, by the way, because I made a logo for it and everything. So the deal is now sealed. Now we have to meet up every week to record
Every
this.
Friday.
Yes, every
We are-
Friday.
Yeah, every Friday. I have to clock out of my big type on keyboard code job to go be silly, and I am so happy.
I don't really have anything going on, so like I'm here. I'm here
You're
every Friday. I'm attending. I'm on time.
That is the one thing you have over me, is I am never on time.
Yeah. So what are we playing this week?
I'm playing Assassin's Creed, and I'm playing World of Warcraft again, Season of Discovery. I reconnected with a friend the other night, and he has a guild of about 300 people on the on the Alliance side of the server we're playing on, GC, and
Ooh.
he set me up with everything, and I'm having a lot of fun. I'm really, really enjoying playing old video games, or what I would consider like legacy games that have sort of like inspired genres or been industry giants. And I also started playing Far Cry 3 again. I'm just kind of in like the Ubisoft hole right now. So
Like, okay,
yeah.
it is the year 2024. We can all kind of be honest with ourselves and say that there's a reason why Ubisoft games were as popular as they were. Everyone always like kind of goes at the Ubisoft open world design. And granted, it's kind of like overplayed. I get it. But also sometimes you just want to check boxes. You know what I mean?
I mean, the games are good. Like, they're fun to play, right? They
Yeah.
have really satisfying gameplay loops. And like you said, like these games were popular for a reason. They sort of, I guess I would say, even before The Witcher 3 popularized the idea of like an open world and open world exploration, because they were just sort of iterating on that with every Assassin's Creed game and then every Far Cry game. Yeah, they follow all the same formula and they're all structurally the same, but they're like really enjoyable, Like,
Yeah. I mean,
yeah.
I would even say the Ubisoft open world formula needed to be popular in order for things like The Witcher 3 and things like, I would even go as far as to say
Breath of the Wild.
Breath of the Wild. Like, the Ubisoft open world formula needed to exist in order for those games to succeed in the way that they did, in my opinion. I feel like they iterated in a different direction, and like people sort of grew fatigued with the Ubisoft open world idea, but they still wanted that idea, which is why the Ubisoft games sell so well and why like people play them a lot and people like them and people gravitate to them. Because yeah, at some point you really do just want to check boxes, but at the same time you want the way you check those boxes to be fundamentally unique and novel. And I think Breath of the Wild, I think Witcher 3, those are responses to the fatigue people were feeling with Ubisoft games, which is where the whole disdain of the Ubisoft open world formula comes from. I don't think it comes from the fact that the Ubisoft games were bad. I think it comes from a place of just being tired of playing something so similar over and over again.
It's that fatigue, right?
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, those are the games I've been playing. But I've also been doing like a lot of reading recently and watching some shows, but we can get to that a little later. What have you guys been playing other than, I mean, both of you are like playing Persona right now, right?
Yeah. I dropped Persona temporarily because I have things I have to work on, and there's a not to date this episode of the podcast, but there is one particular big release this week that I've been playing, and that is Final Fantasy VII Rebirth.
Oh, how are you liking it?
It's
No
amazing.
spoilers or whatever. We're gonna
Yes,
preface
of
this.
course.
Cole's not gonna talk about any spoilers. So you can stay here and listen to the podcast.
Yes, it is amazing, and that's the great thing about me with games like this is that I never want to be like, oh hey GC, I really like this scene in particular with this character revealing to the other that he's his third uncle twice removed. I'm just like, I like the fact that I'm running around a PS1 Final Fantasy overworld in real scale.
And speaking of
Wow.
Ubisoft formula,
Oh yeah, no,
Yeah,
that's what I was
yeah.
thinking.
Speaking
It's
of which,
super that. Oh my god, is it that? But like, I'm finding myself not caring. Again, I like to check all my boxes and get all my stuff on my map.
so how is it as far as like being an open world experience?
Yeah, it's doing more of like open zone, which I feel like
fine.
everybody's been doing as like AAA game design kind of realizes that none of this is sustainable. But I was like talking to some other friends. I was like, "Yeah, when did you go to the first dungeon?" They were like, "Oh yeah, like about an hour after I got the open world unlocked." I was like, "Oh, I did that like 8 hours after. I just explored." Like all of yesterday, I took the day off for it. And I just explored the world with all my buddies, and my buddies being the cast of Final Fantasy VII.
So is there a lot to do? Like, is there like mini games? Is there?
oh hell yeah.
Oh yeah, there's so many mini games, dude. I was like tweeting about this, but I really feel like this is the Final Fantasy game that Square Enix has been trying to make since Final Fantasy X.
You can't say that. You can't say that.
I can
to
and
my
I did.
face.
I can and I did because
Oh.
I want you to think about Final Fantasy X to 16, and I want you to think about the fact that to some extent those were all very ambitious games that, not counting the MMOs, no, but you know what I mean. Like they're trying to recreate a formula, but hardware stuff just gets in the way. Like with Final Fantasy X, it's like, okay, we're pushing like our graphics like really far, but we have to make everything like pretty much, linear just to make sure the whole thing doesn't break because we can't do like overworlds anymore. And they did the same thing with 13. 15 tried to do an open world, and then everything else kind of like collapsed in on itself because they realized making an open world is hard.
Final
And
Fantasy 12 stares you right in the face.
oh yeah, Final Fantasy 12 is cool. I always forget about Final Fantasy 12
I will
because
never let anyone forget about that game. That's my
no, here's
favorite
the
one.
let me finish because Final Fantasy 12 is kind of above it all.
Cullen.
You know what I
Cullen,
mean?
I like that. Yeah.
Like Final Fantasy 12, I forget that it's a Final Fantasy game, and I just go, that's one of the best Square Enix games of all time. But
Guys,
if you
this
think about
podcast
it,
is gonna last so long. It's gonna last so long.
but like Final Fantasy 12 even had problems with development though. Like I think out of like that set of games, they really like struggled in various ways, but always achieved something. 12 had like a really rough development time with like the whole thing with like Vaughn maybe not being the original intended protagonist to like Matsuno
That was
leaving the
disproven by
Oh, was
Matsuno,
it?
by the way. Yes, it was.
Okay, well, but still like Matsuno like left the project, like it seemed like there was trouble in paradise. But for what it is, 12 is an amazing game. GC and I have talked about this before. We we're coders by nature. Him more than me. But
You
like
like the Gambit system.
the junction.
Yeah.
Wait, Gambit?
Yeah,
Or
Gambit.
wait, no, I'm thinking 8. 8's so cool. Gambit system. Programming your AI is so fucking cool. It's the best.
It's really funny. I had no intention of ever playing Final Fantasy 12 because for forever people were telling me, well, the game basically plays itself, and I said, oh, well, that's kind of lame. But no one explained to me that the reason the game plays itself is that you program the characters to do things And when I found that out, I completely changed my mind on it. And I'm like, I gotta play this game. I gotta fucking play this game.
It's so cool. Such a good game. But
Yeah.
like, and then you look at 16, where I'm gonna try to not get Kazuma started on FF16.
It's
But
fine. Everyone
16
knows that I don't care for it, and I'm glad you like it. I think Clive is hot, and that's kind of
so
where like
hot.
he's super hot, but that's like where my enjoyment of the game ends.
But in like 16, since it's trying to be an action game, we're still like not trying to recapture that like classic Final Fantasy ness, which if somehow, viewer, you've never played a Final Fantasy game, from like 1 to 9, you have these like world maps and you have your little guys and you can go out and explore, and it's relatively linear, but there's still like a lot of freedom in where you can go, and the series kind of lost that over time. And 16 is trying to be like a character action game, which means it is linear with like little zones to explore, but there's not really much to do in the zones. And this is just like, this is a classic Final Fantasy game with modern AAA scope and budget.
I really wish you weren't saying that right now. Because I've been trying not to play it. I guess I should provide context. I didn't like Remake too much, but like what you're saying is kind of what I wanted out of Remake, is that open world experience. Because the wall market segment of Remake is really good. And it's this nice little like open area where you just do stuff and the story's like over there somewhere, but you can sort of explore the areas and like talk to little NPCs, and you kind of get a better feel for that zone from the original Final Fantasy VII, and I really liked that, and that's what I wanted more of in Rebirth.
And it's definitely that. That's just all Rebirth is. And because I was thinking about this as well, is like, yeah, Remake is this really like tight, linear action game with a couple moments where you can kind of like hang out in the hubs, and that does serve its goals because that's what Midgar is in FF7. But I'm playing this and it's so wild how true to Final Fantasy VII this project is showing to be now, with this massive tonal and scope shift to sillier, goofier, wide open world to explore. It's like there's a lot of color. It's so Final Fantasy VII. And I'm probably the biggest FF7 head of this podcast, or to be specific, Final Fantasy compilation head of this podcast.
But I'm pretty ambivalent towards Final Fantasy VII. I think it's a good game. I like Advent Children because I like the spectacle of it all. I remember downloading a super tiny version of the Advent Children trailer back when, video resolution was extremely small.
Was it on your PSP?
No, it was on my PC, which had a CRT monitor, if I want to say how old that is. And seeing the Nibelheim scene, I was like, oh shit, this is awesome. And then it came out and I was like, oh shit, this is awesome. And I really enjoyed it. And I think Dirge of Cerberus is fun for what it is, but I don't really feel any way about Final Fantasy VII. So I'm a bad judge. I just think it's funny that Ever Crisis is actually relevant to Rebirth.
I really wish I understood what you meant by that, and I don't want to know. I'm doing my best to essentially mute every single FF7 related thing, and it's been pretty successful. But I've been waiting for this game for 4 years, and it was entirely worth it. I can't believe they did it. It is so
interesting. It's got a different director this time, right?
It's still Nomura on creative director, but yeah, like game director is different. But he worked on Remake. And another thought I've been having, and Kazuma, you've been playing this as well, right?
No, I have not.
I thought you were. Never mind.
No, not yet.
Okay. But I'm the only one. All right, yes. Cool. So it's really interesting because I think the one thing people just like, you just look at like gameplay of the game in the open world and just say, hey, the game doesn't look great. Like, have you guys been seeing how like the graphics are a bit weird?
Yeah, looks a little goofy sometimes.
Yeah.
I have not.
I love it. Let me tell you, I love it. Because I've been playing this game and I'm like, this is what they told us PS4 games would be until they weren't. This is that like the bull shots you would see of like open world games from like 10 years ago. And like back then you'd be like, this looks incredible. And nowadays it'd be like, oh, this looks so whatever. But to like get that level of fidelity, typically like developers have to like cut back on scope a lot, and I'm really happy they decided to just go towards like making an ambitious mess game of just a bunch of stuff and a lot to do and a massive world to explore. Like, I'm fine then that the lighting looks a bit weird or the animations are a bit like strange. I think Square Enix should make games like this more often. I think this is the most ambitious game Square's ever made, and I want it to succeed, if only so that the people up top at Square realize that, like, hey, we should do more of this.
Big budget AAA game.
Mid-budget AAA game.
Oh, that unfortunately, that the cost of that game was probably not
Oh yeah.
mid-budget.
Oh, it was probably huge. But
Yeah.
like I'm okay if we're not trying to go like super fancy graphics. Like I don't need like the nicest, prettiest graphics ever. I just want a fun video game. And that's
I
it.
totally agree. That
Yeah.
I mean, that's me playing Assassin's Creed Unity, which is one of the most technically impressive games I've ever fucking played in my life in terms of like the way the game looks and how
How many
many
people are on screen at one time?
Yeah, more characters on screen than Red Dead Redemption 2. Oh my god. Oh Christ.
They literally have like people clamoring over each other in that game, like a horde of people. It's great.
If y'all haven't played Unity yet, I'm talking to the listener here. I suggest at least giving it a shot just to see how impressive that game is on like a technical level. The story is like whatever. It's like Count of Monte Cristo when Arno was like terminally heterosexual, but like just the multiplayer is really interesting and the traversal mechanics are super fun and Paris just looks phenomenal. But what have you been playing, GC?
Well, I've been playing a little bit of everything, to be honest. The big one is Persona 3, Persona 3 Reload, and I'm really happy with how they've taken Persona 3. A lot of people, I don't think a lot of people realize that this is sort of taking Persona 3 in a like a more expanded direction, where it's not just a redo of Persona 3. There's additional story bits with your companions. There's like everything's voiced now. There's like extra cutscenes depending on like what you do, like during your day to day. A lot of the mechanics are touched up. The like they've converted certain systems from Persona 3 Portable into mechanics that are actually like more usable. Like there was like a one-time fusion skill abilities thing that you can use in Persona 3 Portable where you had like these fusion cards and you would use them to do cool fusion abilities with your persona, but it would like consume it and then you wouldn't be able to use it anymore. In
And then you
Reload,
forget they're in the game.
and then you forget they're in the game. Yeah. In Reload, they've turned that into like a core mechanic in battle called theurgies, where every party member has a certain thing they can do. Like every time you do an action, it raises your theurgy meter. But certain party members, they all have characteristics where if you do a specific thing with that party member, for instance, like if you have Yukari in your party, whenever Yukari heals, her theurgy meter increases faster. So if you start using party members the way they're sort of like intended to be used, or if like you take advantage of their like characteristics, you're cranking these theurgies out way faster and way more often to the point where they become like a main staple of your strategies, where you're thinking, okay, if I do this and I'll get my theurgy for next turn and then I can do that. But then what ends up happening is if you are like KO'd, or I think some status ailments prevent you from using theurgies, and it actually like creates another dynamic in battle that's really cool.
Yeah, like poison, I think, is one that'll just like cut off your theurgy from being able to be used. Same with all out attacks, which is really a neat way to do that. If like, and like some bosses will like use those status ailments like on a widespread, like your entire party, and just even one or two of them like getting poison will make you go, well, I can't waste this all out attack, or like I can't waste this like theurgy, or like, you know, it makes you play in like a completely like different way.
Yeah, very, very different from the original's sort of gameplay loop or play style, where you were just you're just maximizing damage or avoiding dying Whereas like in this, it's not just about maximizing damage, it's how do you want to maximize your damage. It's like, okay, fine, everything's a DPS race, but like how do you want to get there? How do you want to get to the finish line? Can you get there faster than somebody else could? Really cool mechanics like that. Tartarus, the main game's dungeon, you have to go through a dungeon and you have to like constantly go through different floors of this like procedurally generated thing. One thing that I don't think a lot of people are talking about is how the dungeon mechanics are completely different. Dungeoneering is different. Whereas like in the original P3, everything would get kind of boring and stale pretty fast by comparison because you were just going through like the same looking floor with a different color over and over and over again. In this, each block of Tartarus, like each certain set of floors,
Completely
actually
different.
is aesthetically different. Navigating it is different. There's like staircases in one block. In another block, it's like really open spaces with like a lot of pillars in your way. Another one is like a classic maze looking thing. I haven't gotten like super far in the game. I'm only in like September, October. So I still have like maybe half of the game to go through, or like a little less than half a way to go through.
Yeah, you're about third of the way.
Yeah, something like that. Because the game ends in March in game. So I'm in October.
Well,
And it started in April.
you have until January to like play the game, I think.
Okay, yeah. So I'm like,
You're wrapping up, but like you've seen like most of Tartarus, I think, at this point, and there's just
Mhm.
only a little bit left. But no, I agree. It like there's so much variety to Tartarus now that even though like a game like Persona 5 will have pre-designed dungeons, I enjoy like going through the dungeons in this more because of all the little tweaks they've made. It's just fun to dungeon crawl.
yeah. And not just that, they throw curveballs too. So you have monad doors, which are like these they're basically hard mode floors where you can go through the door, fight a difficult enemy, and get rewarded for it. But because you can't save anywhere in the dungeon, you're always taking a risk by going out of your way to do this side stuff that's in the dungeon. You're always sort of risking losing all of your progress just to gain like a couple little things here and there. But I like that. I like that the game isn't just saying, yeah, get through the dungeon or get a game over and have to start over. It's trying to like tempt you into doing something different. It's trying to tempt you into losing. And that wasn't in the original Persona games. In fact, the Persona 3 FES at the very least, like would punish you if you were in the dungeon for too long. You would get punished for hanging out too long. You'd get attacked by a super boss. But in this, you still can get attacked by that super boss, but there's 1,000 reasons for why you would actually want to hang out in the dungeon longer than you'd have to be, and you're constantly weighing your benefits versus your consequences there. And I think, in my opinion, I think Reload might actually be the way to play Persona 3. And I know that's probably controversial for a lot of people because a lot of people really like the female main character, Femc. But I genuinely think with all the changes they've made, that version of Persona 3 makes it very difficult to go back to previous versions, minus maybe Persona 3 Portable, which has the female main character who has like a completely different campaign almost to go through.
I'm working on like a video for later in the year to kind of like talk about that, the whole like definitive P3 thing people discuss. And I kind of believe that there is no like definitive Persona 3 experience, because definitive is a dumb word. It's literally whichever one you played first or like the most, then that's definitive for you, because all of them are like missing something from the others in certain ways. And I'll go into it more there, but no, like as a video game to play, this is easily like the best version, I think, and it's the version that made me
recommend.
Yes, and because it's on Game Pass, which means like, hey, just go pay get a free trial and play Persona 3. It's great. And also it's on everything, but I'm loving Persona 3. I should also mention for extra context, GC and I are playing on hard. I've heard the game is quite easy on normal.
Oh yeah, I forgot to mention that. Yeah, I'm playing on hard, and it's hard isn't very difficult once you get the ball rolling until you encounter an enemy who has no elemental weaknesses and is taking advantage of your party's elemental weaknesses. And then it becomes sort of like a catastrophe waiting to happen. But it's very doable as long as you're using your items and not hoarding them like some kind of dragon. Please don't do that. Play your RPGs and use your items in your RPGs.
I think I only use my items in like Persona games. I have the dragon problem with pretty much any other RPG where I'll never use my items.
Always use your items. You're never
No, but
gonna
like
use them otherwise.
I'll need them for something else.
Nope.
What if I meet a dragon and he's like, "Oh, you'll pass if you have 11 potions exactly," and then I'm there, that asshole with 10 potions, and then I get roasted.
Ironically, it was like a dragon that taught me to use healing items and use my items more often, because that game had horrible healing options aside from items. And ever since then, whenever I play an RPG, I use my items way more liberally.
Now, by Like a Dragon, do you mean Like a Dragon 1, the PS2 classic? Or do you mean Yakuza Like a Dragon, which is known as Like a Dragon 7 in Japan? Or
That
could you
one.
possibly mean Like a Dragon Infinite Wealth?
Or what about Like a Dragon Ishin?
Oh yeah, or it could be Like a
Or
Dragon
Ishin.
Ishin.
The RPG one. That one. I mean that one.
Branding.
Yeah.
But no, I agree with you,
No.
GC. Like, this version of Persona 3 is amazing. I'm chipping away at it. I just need to like play it more. I've been going real slow with it, and I know like everybody basically blasted through the game in a week. But I'm in October, and I'm really liking it.
Cool. I'm like right there with you then. We're probably very close to the same spot then. Other than that, I'm looking forward to the new Stardew Valley update. That's just something I wanted to talk about. Stardew Valley's 1.6 update is coming out, and it's going to have a new festival, and it's going to have some new items and stuff, and I'm looking forward to it. I can't wait. I'm waiting for all the mods to update to that version so that I can play a big modded playthrough on my Twitch channel. It's going to be fun.
Hell yeah.
Kazuma, are you
excited.
a farm
Oh my
gamer?
god, yes.
Okay.
So there's a little bit of backstory with that. Back when Blockbuster used to exist, my dad would take me to Blockbuster like every Friday to rent a game. And I forgot what I had wanted to rent, but Harvest Moon was there, and I ended up picking that up instead. The one for the GameCube, A Wonderful Life.
Mhm.
And I
That's a good one.
started playing the game, I think around 5 p.m., and I blinked and it was 6 a.m. the next morning. And I really love farming games, but I have like a real min-maxer mentality. So I played Stardew Valley for like a week, and I basically cleared out all of the content that was available at the time. And haven't really gone back to it, but I really, really love like farming sims and stuff like that. Like
Oh man.
Polya. Yeah, Polya is the one that I've been playing a lot. But as a FYI, I am like an official content creator for that game, so I should preface that before I'm like, oh, go play Polya. But it's very fun. There's like no time commitment when it comes to like watering your plants and stuff. They don't ever go bad if you miss watering them for a day and things like that.
Maybe that's one of the farming kind of games I would enjoy, because it's good we're getting our dynamics out, in front of the audience early. I've noticed we have little dyads of interests, because I don't fuck with farming sims, not for lack of trying. They just don't click in my brain, and I get really stressed out, and then I never do anything, and then I close the game so the little people don't like get mad at me.
Oh, there's none of that in Polya. None of that. You literally do stuff on your own time. If I just want to fish all day, I can fish all day and my crops will be fine. You don't have to interact with NPCs if you don't want to. They have like Oh, go ahead.
And it's multiplayer, so we can play it together.
Yes, it is
Mm.
multiplayer. I can come to your house and water your crops and then present you with a bug and leave.
Well, then you wouldn't be allowed to come back.
Okay, a fish.
Okay, I do like fish.
Okay.
But like, I guess the other thing for me is, and I might check out Polya, but it's also that like a lot of the gameplay is kind of boring to me, and that's just a preference thing. Like, I just can't. I've tried so many of them, your rune factories and your harvest moons, and I'll consider Animal Crossing there as well. I've gotten furthest into Animal Crossing out of all those, but yeah, no, I'm glad you guys are excited about farming games.
Yeah.
Why
Oh,
don't you
I'm also
play it?
excited for Season of Discovery, the next update for it, and the new Diablo season whenever that comes out because I like to punish myself. So
Wait, is the new season for Palia also called Season of Discovery?
no, I'm talking about World of Warcraft gamer.
Oh yeah, okay,
Yeah,
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 okay.
yeah. I'm
How are
waiting for it.
you? So like you're playing Season of Discovery, but are you did you start over?
I made an alliance character because my friend has that big fuck off guild.
Right.
Sorry everyone, I curse a lot.
Oh, we can swear on this podcast. I
Yeah,
think. I
fuck
think we're
it.
allowed.
Oh my god. Won't that like fuck with our like rating or whatever, our discoverability?
Oh, rated high, everybody.
All right.
Give us 10 stars on Spotify.
Yes. 12 if you're feeling frisky.
Oh, if you're feeling real dirty, go
Yeah.
13.
Yeah, no, I started a night elf hunter last night and I am trying to figure out how hunter works exactly.
Oh, it's
Be
great.
Is it?
You point at things in Season of Discovery. You point at things and they die.
Oh, were you that strong?
Hunter, I gotta show you the DPS chart later. Hunter is like max DPS right now.
Ooh, I
It's the
love that.
it's the only class that didn't get a secondary role in Season of Discovery. So like every other class got like a new role in Season of Discovery, but Hunter didn't. So instead of giving them another role, they just made hunters really good at DPS.
Oh, okay. For those of you that probably will pick up on this really quickly, GC and I also like farming sims and MMOs, and we sometimes play MMOs together and stuff. Cullen is our EP little guy who was the
Looking at
odd one out.
camera.
Yeah, yeah, literally, yeah. For
I'm
speaking a foreign language right now.
I had my stint with MMOs during the big COVID-14 rush. And then I played all the way to Endwalker and I said, I think I never want to play an MMO ever again.
You should play a different MMO, my guy. I'm already gonna make enemies in this first episode, but I don't think 14's that good.
To be fair, I think we've already like had a bunch of people click out in the very first section when we talked about Shitburger. So, fuck it. We all, we're here to hang out. No hating.
Yeah, yeah. I just don't think it's a very good MMO or a very good Final Fantasy game. That's just my onion, right? Um, and that's all I'll say about that. Unless if one episode you guys get me really worked up and then I'm just like on it for 30 minutes.
Hey, I
Um,
mean, Dawn Trail comes out this year.
please don't remind me.
Eventually, I'll get back to Stormblood and we can talk about it.
Oh, I'd
Oh
talk about
yeah.
fucking Stormblood anytime.
The
Jesus Christ.
the racism.
You
Oh
guys can make
boy.
me play through it, and then I can report back and be like, "Why did you make me do this?"
Yeah, yeah,
Like,
I think you should try other MMOs, Cullen, because 14 is just it's also really watered down now. Like I've been playing 14 since like the beginning. Um and when there actually used to be real class variety in terms of like what you could do, now it's I press 4 buttons and I sleep.
to be
Um
fair, I even kind of noticed that myself going from Shadowbringers to Endwalker and just seeing like how less involved everything kind of felt. Granted, like I had a great time with 14. For the most part, there's some real bad stuff in that game, like A Realm Reborn
yeah.
and also
Stormblood?
Stormblood.
Yeah.
But I really did enjoy Shadowbringers and Endwalker. I just kind of felt like I was done. Um, and I don't know if I'll be in for Dawn Trail. Probably not, but I might cave and try it anyway.
What, you don't wanna play the expansion, where we go to a South American coded country and instill a leader of our choosing, like the CIA?
No, can't say I would, but honestly, on an even like higher level than that, you cannot end things as definitively as Endwalker does and then make me want to come back for the colonial beach like vacation. Like, I'm just not interested. And I know, like, and every time I say this, people are like, oh, you know, they set up all these little things going on, so you keep playing, right? I'm like, yeah, but all the things I cared about ended with Endwalker, so I'm good. I'm content.
I'm
See,
just
I
here
like
for
your
the
attitude,
mahjong.
Colin. You're here for the GC top mahjong player plays against Yoshi P. That's not true, but maybe one day, GC. Maybe one day you'll be in a mahjong tournament and he'll be there.
Yoshi P is made to leave the fan fest crying. GC reigns supreme.
I can do it. I'm very good at mahjong.
I believe that. I really believe that after having watched you played mahjong on stream. Um, yeah, I think, Colin, what we should do for an assignment for us
Oh
is
shit, yeah,
try to
we're gonna
get
have
you to.
assignments.
Yeah, I mean, I got to give everyone homework or whatever, right? Um, I think you should totally play an MMO with us.
Maybe. Although wait,
And
I've done the homework already. I was playing
yeah.
SMT Imagine
Oh.
on that private server. I don't know if you heard about that.
Oh wait, there's a private server for that?
There is a private server.
Ooh.
It's vibes and it's just kind of okay.
Oh. Yeah,
Here's the
I
thing.
remember
I'm
playing
not
it a long
into the
time
sub.
ago.
I don't want to like I don't want to pay a sub.
Then you got to play Guild
I'd
Wars.
rather pay a dom instead.
Oh,
They're
man.
strong and they'd be able to like push a couch, you know?
Yeah, I think we got to get Cullen on Guild Wars.
I don't know.
Guild Wars 2?
Yes.
How about we just play
Let's
Diablo
do
2
it.
instead?
I mean, it's gonna be on Xbox Game Pass, I think, this month.
Diablo 2?
The entire Diablo series, my guy.
Oh, okay.
And I think you'll like 3 the most because it's just numbers go up and it's really fast.
I don't know, but I really like 2. From that like
think-
bit we played in call. So
Guys, we're gonna check back when we have played the entire Diablo series with
no,
Cullen.
no. Wait.
Yes.
I don't
Yeah!
want. Nope.
Yep.
I can't do it.
Yep.
It'll be great. You're going to start talking about Diablo 4 seasons and you're going to be like, this season was pretty good. I've been having a really good time. This new class I'm trying out is really scrungle bungalow. And like, it's
Why are you
super neat.
implying I say nonsense words? Why would you imply that I say the word neat? I've never said the word neat.
It's
No, you
neat.
just say vibe maxing.
Yeah. No, I don't, because I don't say nonsense words.
Everyone knows that's a lie.
Everyone also knows I say neat all the time. It's my kryptonite word.
Yeah.
Can I control F all of your scripts for the word
No.
neat?
No, you'll find it too often. You will probably find it in every single thing I have ever written. I can like go to a Nintendo Insider, RPG site, all of those, and just control F neat. You will most definitely find it. Because some things are just neat.
That's true. Sometimes things are just neat. It's me looking at World of Warcraft, Diablo, Assassin's Creed. Sometimes these things just make you happy, and I think that's nice. I think it's
Also
nice to
helps
engage with me that
when,
makes you happy.
When Bobby Kotick's out of there.
Oh yes, capital G gone. So maybe Cullen does have to play WoW with us.
I'm not doing WoW.
Not doing WoW? Okay.
Foot down on WoW. Not
Okay.
doing it.
Looks like it's Diablo then.
Diablo is cooler. It's got sauce. It's got swag. WoW, sauceless, swagless.
I will say, in my opinion, as someone that's played a lot of 14 and a lot of MMOs, I do think WoW is the better MMO by comparison to 14.
Oh, I'm sure. I
Yeah.
think 14 does a great job pulling in non-MMO fans.
Oh yes.
And then 14 ends up becoming the kind of game where it's like you're logging in and playing that because it's 14 and you like specifically what that does as an MMO adjacent kind of game. Like it is still it is an MMO, but it's so unlike a lot of other ones and tries to bring in a more casual audience, which is something I actually appreciated when I was a little baby and was trying to figure out what all these like complicated MMO mechanics meant. I was able to get that a bit more, but I haven't really wanted to go out and play other MMOs because I just liked 14.
Do you like Star Wars?
That's a loaded question.
We'll get back to that later.
Although I have
GC
been
knows
playing
exactly what I'm like gonna
the
suggest.
Old Republic. I don't want to play the Old Republic.
But it's fun.
I'm too busy playing Dark Forces.
It'll be the perfect complement.
Yeah,
I don't think so. How? An MMO from a boomer shooter? How does that work?
Well,
That's what I thought.
Did you like KOTOR?
No.
Okay, never mind. Gamers, we've lost him. We've lost him.
I don't like KOTOR like at all. I like KOTOR 2. I don't like KOTOR 1.
So it's basically KOTOR 3.
Yeah,
that's what I've heard.
Yeah, like GC and I were in a dungeon and they use dice rolls to determine who will respond to NPCs. And I shit you not, like, because GC's playing like a Sith, like everyone is like in reverence to him, whereas everyone's like, ugh, God, Imperial agent, puh, like every time they talk to me.
It kind of reminds me of how like Baldur's Gate 3 would kind of not randomize. I don't know how it worked, but like if you were playing in a group, only like wouldn't it change who got to speak to certain NPCs? And then you could like
it's
really?
determined by who approaches the NPC first.
Oh.
yeah.
But it is kind of funny
wish.
that you could go up and kind of like fuck things up for another person in your session. I always love games like that.
You
Yeah.
will love the Old Republic. Oh my god.
Perhaps.
I really wish Baldur's Gate 3's multiplayer aspects were a little more fleshed out, because it would be really fun if they did utilize the system SWTOR uses, where a dice roll determines who gets to have the talking stick, as it were.
Well, Larian, they're always making patches. So in patch 5 million, in a couple of days, it very well they could just add that. They'd be like, oh,
And
those burnouts have some good ideas.
There was a great article by PC Gamer that called that game the Ship of Theseus, and I completely agree.
it's going to be a completely different game by the time they're done, like, updating it.
Yeah, that's why I stopped playing. And because let me be clear, like I think we all kind of vary in how our enjoyment on that as well. And whenever I say that, that means Kazuma's the hater of the group. But I liked it a lot, but I could clearly tell that there were problems. And then everyone I know who was playing Act 3 was like, this is a fucking mess, just wait. And so I'll probably just start a brand new save whenever they're done patching it up to be a finished game. Okay, that's kind of
2
mean.
years.
Yeah, but like
2 years.
genuinely, I think it is impressive what they were able to accomplish with that game. I was being silly. I gotta be careful. We're not in our Discord calls. I can't throw hate out.
So I'm perfectly fine with the game. I think it's really okay. But I've played the game like 5 times. So
That's fair.
while everyone's like, "Oh, you're a hater," and I'm like, I've played the game like 5 times, dude. I don't think I hate it that much if I played it 5 times. But in general, yes, I am the hater of the group. But I just think the experience has become so different when I played it, that my opinion will definitely be changing. The one thing, and this is not Larian's fault or whatever, but I think that winning game of the year is going to send the wrong message to C-suite executives about the state in which games can be shipped and what is acceptable and what they believe will make money.
Yeah.
Yep.
And that's kind of my issue with a lot of the reverence and praise regarding this game, because when I played it, I was falling through the ground in Act 3 and getting pushed through walls.
We call those game-breaking bugs.
Yes, it was not super stable, but I was also just really getting through the game. I also I like Baldur's Gate 1 and 2, so I played 3 and I was like, some of this is kind of weird, guys. But
we should try to find a way to play Dark Alliance together.
Oh, I love Dark Alliance.
Is Dark Alliance the action one?
Yeah.
Yeah.
The Diablo legs, right?
Yeah, yes.
I think I played a Baldur's Gate game when I was a wee baby on my PSP, and it was
Dark
like,
Alliance.
yeah,
Yep.
that was cool. I want to play that.
Yeah.
I don't know if the remasters even have online multiplayer, but I'm sure
I
someone's
will
figured it out.
I will check it out, and if they do, we're playing that together. Just
Yeah.
know, everybody, if you're interested in the Baldur's Gate series, Baldur's Gate games don't always take place in Baldur's Gate. In fact, only one game takes place in Baldur's Gate. um, so at least from like the first 3 games, only one is in Baldur's Gate. 2 is like it goes places. But GC, have you played Baldur's Gate 1 and 2?
I have played very little of Baldur's Gate 1 and 2.
GC.
Yeah,
GC.
I've played very little of it. I bounced off of the how old it was. I'll admit.
Play in story mode.
Yeah, play it in story mode.
It wasn't the difficulty. It's just like the general aesthetic was way too. I used to play a lot of Age of Empires when I was younger, and like the top down aesthetic of like old PC games just gives me fatigue. It gives me eye fatigue.
Interesting.
It makes you sleepy.
It
I
does.
love it.
It does. It's too cozy. It's too comfortable. It just reminds me of when I was young and I was playing video games inside
And
my
had
computer
hair.
class and had hair. So much hair. I had so much hair. Anyway, I have to restart my Baldur's Gate 3 playthrough because my character has hair and I need to redo that so I
You
can be a bald monk.
No. You can just go to the mirror and change that now.
Yeah, but they've like I played Baldur's Gate 3 on launch, so like that whole campaign is now it's gonna feel wrong to go back and
Okay.
start from the same save.
I'm in the same boat.
I wanted to say like it is actually like really scary to think of Baldur's Gate 3's success. Man, that's a lot of apostrophe S's. It's really scary to think of Baldur's Gate 3's success given the way it was shipped, I guess. No shade to Larian. Again, like making games is hard. You probably had to put that game out or else, whatever oversight, what have you. But it's definitely going to give people the impression that they can put their games out, for lack of a better word, incomplete, and then patch it later. And I don't like that precedent that it sets.
Yes.
But what's scarier is that this is not a precedent that Baldur's Gate 3 set. This is a precedent Cyberpunk set.
Oh,
No. I would argue Final Fantasy 15.
Yeah, I was gonna say probably prior to that, Final Fantasy 15, and all of those games have done reasonably well. We're
living in it. We're living in the dystopia.
Yeah. With the mild exception of Cyberpunk getting like really not panned, but heavily criticized for, the way it was released. Which is weird. It's weird that like Cyberpunk gets that treatment, but like the other studios didn't. Though I guess Cyberpunk's situation was more public about the way they treated their employees and stuff like that too. So,
and to be fair, everyone kind of gave 15 shit.
Did they?
Yeah.
Oh, dude.
Really?
Yeah.
I mean, it was really well received critically because I think that's just the way Final Fantasy games get, like, that's just the nature of it. Everyone rates Final Fantasy games really high upon their release, and then they revisit it a couple of years later, and either they still feel very strongly about it, or they're, I guess I would say, indifferent towards it, or just don't like it anymore, right?
And that's kind of just the nature of Final Fantasy as a series, because you bring up a good point, and I kind of look at it in a way of like when reviewers are playing this like new Final Fantasy game and they don't have anyone talking to them about it, it's just they're playing it. I imagine a lot of them are going like, is this kind of like where, because every Final Fantasy game tries to differentiate itself, and I imagine in the mind of the reviewer is like, is this like going to be where gaming goes? Is this going to be the new hotness? Like, I don't like. It's kind of like you're just getting flashbang with a lot of new things, and you're kind of like unsure exactly what's going on, which is why I do like how it's neat that we get to like revisit old Final Fantasy games and think like, okay, what parts did not end up working out at all, or where did gaming go since like 15? I've kind of warmed up on 15 since then, but oh my god, that was a rocky launch.
16 made me like 15, and okay, my experience with 15 was I played it before it released, so before the patch that they said they delayed the game for like happened, because I was living in Germany at the time, and Germans do not care about breaking street date. Like they'll just be like, "We got the copy in, just fucking take your game and go." Um, so I played it about a week before the game came out, and I played that game. And my first thought was, I don't think Final Fantasy is for me anymore, and I think that's okay. And I was really not gonna play another mainline Final Fantasy game until they teased 16, and I liked the idea of 16. I played it, and then in retrospect, it made me like 15. But for me, all the Creative Business Unit 3 games have made me like games that I otherwise did not like or had no feelings towards. So that's the CBU3 curse for me.
Man, Yoshi P's got a lot of answering to do.
Yeah, I mean, it sure made me fall in love with World of Warcraft. Which he has on record said that without World of Warcraft, 14 would not be the game that it is. Game formative for a lot of people, but yeah. Yeah, 15, man. So much of what I played is just it's just not in the game anymore. They cut that whole ring segment out, right?
Yeah, I
Ring
played through
segment?
that ring segment, and I think they did cut it out. I think they replaced it with something else, or they buffed it, or they expanded it, or something. Um, but yeah, I am a 15, I guess, apologist at this point. Like I actually really liked 15 from what I played. I think it was conceptually really cool, and the storytelling was different from what I had played in Final Fantasies past, where maybe it was because they didn't have everything complete, but some of it was abstract and some of it asked you to kind of think about what it meant. And it's like, oh, I'm being asked to like come to my own conclusions about what things represent in this game. This is kind of cool. Um, and yeah, I enjoyed 15 a lot. I did not enjoy 16, I guess, while we're on Final Fantasy. I bought 16, I played it, I thought it was okay. I thought the character action bits were a little limited in scope, and yeah. But yeah, like I think I think we're in it. I think we're in the world that people think Baldur's Gate 3. We're in the industry that people think Baldur's Gate 3 is going to establish as commonplace. Although I guess Baldur's Gate 3 was so successful, like so impactful, that it's like a definite thing now. That
Early access is back, baby.
Mhm.
the revival of early access, the revival of like not having like a complete game on launch.
Dragon's Dogma 2, save me. Dragon's Dogma 2.
I really hope Dragon's Dogma 2 is like really good. I'm probably gonna buy that. I wanted to say play and buy, and I combined it
And then
to
said you
ply.
became wood.
Yeah,
I'm really hoping.
I'm ply.
I'm gonna apply. I really need to give Dark Arisen another go. Every time I try to play that game, I play it for maybe like an hour and I go, this is boring and dumb, and I stop playing. But I might just be better just play 2 and then just see if I enjoy what they're doing with that one. Because I want to like Dragon's Dogma. My brain won't let me.
So I went to that first preview event, right? And you can read about that on Silicon Era for those that are curious. It's just Dragon's Dogma 1 again, my dude. If you don't gel with Dragon's Dogma, you're gonna have a tough time with 2.
Fair. But I wanna play the game everybody's playing and enjoying. That
Cullen
comes out
is
next month, right?
Yeah,
This
no, it comes
month?
out this month. This month. Oh
Oh,
my god. Yeah, it comes
it's
out this
March.
month. Yeah. Speaking of which, upcoming releases, everybody. Dragon's Dogma 2.
Yeah,
Yeah.
What is actually
excited.
coming out?
Unicorn Overlord, Dragon's Dogma 2, Rise of the Ronin,
Rise of the Ronin is March?
It's the
Yes.
same day as Dragon's Dogma, I
Oh.
think.
I'm so broke.
Yeah. Polia's Steam version is coming out.
Ooh.
Game's already out though. You can download it through their independent launcher, which is what I suggest personally. The Thaumaturge, which looks pretty interesting. It's like it sort of looks like Disco Elysium, in terms of like general aesthetic. And I would say those are sort of the games that we would be interested in.
Ooh, I'm looking at footage of the Thaumaturge now. That looks
Yeah,
dope.
I am very interested in that game.
I'm trying to think about the next time a game's coming out that I'm actually interested in, because I just spent God knows how much money on a 21-inch Sephiroth figurine that I guess comes with a Final Fantasy VII Rebirth disc, and I'm just like, this is kind of like the
Elden Ring
most.
DLC?
Oh, yeah.
No, I will
Oh,
not be there
well,
because I will instead be
yeah.
there day one for Shin Megami Tensei 5 Vengeance.
Ooh.
Elden Ring, oh, you're gonna sell no copies because Atlas is back with a vengeance.
Atlas is doing really well. It's kind of crazy to think that Atlas is like potentially the big moneymaker for Sega.
Yeah, it's great. And it's so interesting looking at like in the last year, RGG had this like, big reveal. It's like we got 3 games coming out. Whoa! And then I think the first 2 just kind of sold whatever. Ishin and Gaiden. And then like Infinite Wealth sold like 1 million copies in like a week or something. And then Persona 3 sells 1 million copies in like 5 days. And then Shin Megami Tensei 5 granted they said it as an ad, so it's probably why, but like it's probably one of the most viewed, like the trailer for 5 Vengeance is one of the most viewed videos Atlas has on YouTube. And they have Metaphor coming out later, and they have Unicorn Overlord coming out in a week. And oh my god, Atlas, like slow down. But also, I guess they're making money, so
I
go
also want to
mid
give
budget.
Metaphor a try. I want to give Metaphor a try, even if it looks like it's just going to be fantasy Persona. I'm like, sure, let's do it. Let's do these systems in a different setting. I'm down for that.
I'm like cautiously optimistic about Metaphor, but I will be there for like no matter what game it is, because I am so morbidly curious. And if I don't end up liking it, then well, P Studio's still pumping out like really good games.
I'll let you two play the Persona and Persona-esque games. I'll be here playing my Assassin's Creed games, which are very small in scope now by comparison to modern games.
I am just ready to become a different person when Shin Megami Tensei 5 comes out on real consoles.
Real consoles.
Real consoles. I love the Switch, but the Switch does not love me. Having said that, maybe my brain's a little broken. I was playing SMT5 on the Switch because that's one of those games I've played like 8 times, and I was thinking I could go for a 9th before Vengeance drops. And I was actually being like, this actually plays all right. Maybe I could.
You just want to play SMT5 so bad.
I love SMT5. I'm a big like Megaten fan in general. Atlas game design activates my my neurons in a very particular way that no other studio does, and I always just lose my mind when they release a new game. But what else is even coming out in this first like half of the year?
That's really it, actually. Like that's
Damn.
actually it. Like everything was really front loaded, and the rest of the year is gonna be kind of empty.
Oh wait, Saga. We're getting a Saga game in April.
Oh, are we?
For all 5 people who like Saga in our audience, and I'm one of them.
Which Saga game?
Emerald Beyond. I'll be honest. I'm doing like I'm really excited for this game, and I will be there day one. But I'm doing my best to just not know anything about it, and then just dive in and experience the obtuse brilliance of Saga. I'm so excited. It's gonna be so good.
Saga's like a weird. Saga's like, what if Final Fantasy was actually weird? Like, still weird and
Isn't that
experimental.
Xenoblade?
No.
Xenoblade is safe.
Well, I wouldn't say it's safe, but it's a different kind of weird.
It is.
Saga is and this isn't like this is a metaphor, this is like real. It's like, what if the Final Fantasy II guy kept making games like that and branched off of that kind of game design? Saga games are good.
I remember when we met up for the first time in person, you were like, "You're playing this game wrong. Please start over." And I did.
Because it was that was Minstrel Song, and we were both reviewing it at the time. I think we met up on a to go to a boat to play One Piece. Me and Kazuma. That's how we met for the first time.
I'm still jealous about that.
Dude, that boat was really nice.
I'm a big One Piece fan.
That boat was really nice. That makes it seem like I hated One Piece Odyssey. I think that game's fine, but
it's okay. It's really just okay.
Yeah, and honestly, for a licensed game, that's pretty good.
But anyway, you were saying
not a lot of good licensed games. But yeah, and it was like I think we were talking about what like review assignments we were maybe like working on or something, and we were just like we mentioned like, oh, Minstrel Song, and you said you picked like
I picked the Hot Pirate.
You picked the Hot Pirate, and what Saga doesn't tell you is that it kind of expects you to start like small, because there are characters, like every character will have a completely different kind of experience, and there are some characters where like I picked this like guy with a sword for my Minstrel Song playthrough, and what's great about his story is that he basically does not have a campaign. Like he does, you can go find it, but it's just you get the raw Saga experience of like, all right, here's a world, do whatever you want, figure it out, go. Whereas there's like one little guy who looks like an RPG protagonist, man, who has like a plot and cutscenes, and it sets the gameplay loop up or whatnot. And I think you got a bit of a rough entry point in your Saga journey.
Let me tell you, I was fighting every single encounter I came across.
And yeah, I think that is also not something recommended for Minstrel Song. Minstrel Song is a weird game, and it's got a lot of heart and soul, and that remaster is really good.
Go play Minstrel Song.
Minstrel Song is a good ass game.
Akitoshi Kawazu.
Yeah, Kawazu. That's the boy right there.
He made The Last Remnant happen, so
oh my god, what a good fucking game.
The Last Remnant is so fucking good. I love The Last Remnant. He also did My Life as a King, which I enjoyed as well.
Oh, okay. That game's fun.
I like that little game. As Cullen would say, it's neat.
I wouldn't say that.
But yeah, those are upcoming releases. I like. Is there anything else? Like the Thaumaturge looks really cool. I keep looking at it. I keep looking at photos of it, and it's what is it like a? It's not Victorian, but
it's Regency.
Yeah, it's really cool. Like, it looks like you're like hunting cryptids and stuff like that.
Whatever it is, I'm into it.
Yeah.
But yeah, other than games, what other media have y'all been engaging with? I've been doing some reading recently. Ended up borrowing Babel from my roommate by R.F. Kuang, and really, really, really good book.
What's it about?
So it's an arcane history of Oxford. It's sort of like an alternate history version where Britain is basically using language-based magic to further its colonization efforts of East Asia and Central Asia. And it's really good, man. Like it's like the idea that empires begin and end with language and the use of language. The protagonist is a biracial Chinese boy who is brought from Canton to England to work as a translator, and basically discovers that all of these kids that are being brought in from colonies are being used to further Britain's effort to colonize the world. And then they start a rebellion, and it's really, really good.
I gotta check that out. I've been dying to get more books to read. There's and I love like, I guess this would qualify as like alternative history or historical fiction.
Yeah.
Oh, it's cheap too. It's only like 50. I forgot books are cheap. Hey everybody, books are cheap.
Cheaper than games. Cheap. Nourish your mind.
I
Are
should
video
read more
games
books.
burning you out? Are you tired of spending $70 on a video game every time? You know
God,
what you
yeah.
can do? You can buy a book.
Go read a book.
I
Go
should
read
definitely
a
be reading
book.
more books. Because
I
compared to
read-
like what
Hmm?
you just said, Cosmo, what I've been doing, not game wise, is just sounds like straight up anti-intellectual.
What have you been doing?
Reality TV.
I mean, that can be fun.
Okay, but it's definitely not making me think. I've
Is it
been
like MILF
watching.
Island?
I have seen MILF Island though. Not as good as the premise would make you think. No, I've been watching Love Is Blind.
I've
Do you
heard
guys
that's
know?
entertaining.
Well, in the same way any reality TV show is entertaining, where they just torture the contestants. This is actually like a real thing. There's lawsuits against the people who made Love Island for how they treat like the people on the show.
Oh
It's like
shit.
it's kind of bad.
Wow.
But I don't know. My girlfriend and I wanted something to watch, and I was like, let's watch Love Is Blind. It seems interesting, and I don't pay for Netflix anyway. I use a friend, so I just queued it up. And because I was so curious about what all these like lawsuits were like. Like I have one brain that's like, okay, I'm morbidly curious what these people are doing on this show that has all this like controversy around it. And on the other hand, I have like chimp brain that's like, I gotta see reality TV show. Like I'm a big sucker for like Love Is Island, Jesus, Love Island and things like that. And essentially, do you guys know the premise of Love Is Blind?
Aren't you like
No.
put on a date with like a random person and one of them is like wearing like a fursuit basically?
No,
Oh,
no, that's
I've seen that one though.
okay.
I think I've heard of that one. I was gonna say that's a good idea. You could make a lot of money for that. But no, so essentially you have like a group of I don't know the exact numbers. Let's say like 10 guys and 10 girls, and they're living in a big I don't know what I would call it, like a warehouse or something. It's like a living quarter situation, but they cannot see each other. Like all of the guys get to hang out and all the girls get to hang out in their own living quarters, but none of them can see each other. And they go on blind dates where they talk to other people through like they get in rooms that are connected and then they just talk. And the whole thing is like they're trying to be like, "Oh, it's an experiment. We're running an experiment to see if love is blind and if you could find someone with an emotional connection or whatnot." And I'm like, this is not an experiment. You're dangling keys in front of my face and I'm clapping because there's drama. Like that's it. And then eventually you keep going on dates with other people. It's heavily edited reality TV, so you know the producers are cutting around stuff and making things spicy. And eventually, what happens is if people find enough of a connection, in a period of like 1 or 2 weeks, they propose. And then the second half of the show is these two people who have only ever spoken through a wall actually trying to live together up until their wedding, where they decide if they're actually getting married or not. And these are real marriages.
Oh.
Oh my.
I love trashy reality television so much, and I do not want to make myself smarterer or betterer as a person. I want the gunk. I want the garbage.
Negative enrichment.
I am too enriched on my day-to-day life talking to my lovely friends. I want to be a little cave gremlin watching my garbage reality television and see Stacy say bad things about Yennefer, and then they just go at it and start whacking each other over because they are both into the same guy and they don't realize that he looks like a big skinhead freako. It's so give me the gunk. DC, what have you been into?
Well, a couple things. I did read. I actually, on occasion, do open a book from time to time. I read my friend. I went to a friend's house, and she was like, "Dude, you got to check out this book series that I've been reading." So I read the first book in the series called Red Rising by Pierce Brown, and I read the first chapter of it. And I think I might end up reading more of it. I already bought I purchased a copy that should be here tomorrow. In the first chapter, just from the first chapter alone, he's very good at Mr. Brown. That is, he's very good at describing a setting without describing a setting, if that makes sense. Like his like world building is very, very good. Just immediately pulls you in. Like he's just describing he's describing a machine. And in describing the machine, you already know the workings of the dystopian sort of like sci-fi setting that you're about to step into. Like he in describing the machine, he describes like scattered lines here and there. He's just showing off like the main character like drilling through the earth on Mars, and it's you get like the political infrastructure, you get the caste system that's in place, you get the technology that they're using, and you get like the established like relationships that our main character has to other characters like in the immediate vicinity, and you sort of like have like you learn about the competition that that all the miners have, and they win, and then the winner gets to like you just like immediately you're just sucked into the inner workings of this society that this character is a part of, and it's really well done. So I was like, and it was a super fast read too. It was like super quick of a chapter. So I'm really excited to read more of that. It's basically like a dystopian sci-fi novel about humanity colonizing the solar system and turning it into a fucked up place to live, I guess, so far from what I'm reading. So I'm excited to do that. And then I've also been watching anime here and there. I don't watch a lot of anime. I'm not a big anime guy.
What are you watching?
Well, just real quick, because I know how like podcast listeners tend to get. Can you name that book again?
Yeah, it's Red Rising by Pierce Brown.
Okay, great, thank you. But yeah, anime, huh?
Yeah,
I've also been watching anime.
I don't watch a lot of anime. I'm not big on anime. I actually don't like a lot of anime, but I've been having a lot of fun with Dungeon Meshi, Delicious in Dungeon in English. Every now and then I catch an episode because my friends watch it every week. I'm terrible at keeping up with things weekly, but if I'm there for an episode, I happen to catch it. And so far, I've been catching every episode just by happenstance.
Wait, so they're releasing it weekly on like that's Netflix, right?
I think so, yeah.
I thought they did like in bursts, but that's interesting.
Maybe my friends are just watching one episode a week or something. I don't know.
Yeah.
But it's really good. I actually really like Delicious in Dungeon. I've been watching it dubbed.
I heard
All the
dub's
actors are
good.
really they're so funny.
I think
They're
one
so
of
funny.
the girls they got in Dungeon Meshi was Nami's live action actress from the One Piece show, which is like that's really impressive. Apparently she kills it.
Yeah, she does. It's really good. Watching that show makes me hungry. The way they describe the food and the way they prepare the food and everything. It's a cooking show. Delicious in Dungeon is a fucking cooking show. Forget about the fact that they're in like a fantasy world and that they're going through a dungeon to save this guy's sister. Whatever. Who cares about that? Show me how to cook a Kelpie. That's awesome. I love that. I love fake cooking, and they get so into it, and I'm completely engrossed in that. And the other anime I've been watching is Bang Brave Bang Bravern, a show that simultaneously excites me but makes me very nervous. Okay, so imagine it is essentially a parody of mech anime.
Oh,
it is a parody of mech anime.
Dog ears kind of sprung up a second, and I was like, "Oh, mecha, okay."
Where the guy, where the mech itself is alive and is really, really into his pilot. Like he has an emotional like connection to his pilot that's really deep, but his pilot doesn't want none of that. His pilot is like completely adverse to the idea of having a bond with his mech. And then they throw in a second character who really wants to pilot the mech, but the mech says, I just can't do it. I just can't. I'm sorry, but you cannot pilot me. The only person that it makes sense for is with this other guy. And the show is like poking fun at like Gundam and stuff like that, and it's really funny and it's really fun. There's some weird bits here and there. Like episode 3 is kind of like a big question mark. But then after episode 3, like things go back to being like silly and goofy and like it's very high energy and very like I actually really want to watch the first episode with you, like with both of you
Interesting.
if you want. Like
Okay.
it's really goofy. However, I believe this is made by the same person who did the what's that anime where the girls pilot the dragons?
The
Huh?
what?
There's okay. So so at any moment, Bang Brave Bang Bravern could turn into an advertisement for the JDF.
Oh, you're talking about Darling in the Franxx, right?
It's not Darling in the Franxx. I'm not thinking of Darling in the Franxx.
Okay.
There's
No, that was
another
the
one.
Shinzo Abe anime.
Oh yeah, that was the
That
him
was the
asking
please
people to
procreate.
repopulate.
Yeah. So at any minute, Bang Brave Bang Bravern could go mask off, and it could just be a propaganda thing. And it's like kind of there because like the premise is that aliens attack, like alien mechs attack, and Bravern shows up shortly thereafter
And starts banging.
to protect to protect humanity from the aliens. And so America and Japan team up to stave off the alien attack because they're like this like specific pocket of American and Japanese forces are the only like people left standing basically. And the last episode I watched, they went back to Japan because they weren't in Japan. They went to Japan to look for survivors. And well, I won't say whether or not they find survivors, but the entire time I'm like, okay, when is the actual like mask off moment going to happen? And so far it hasn't happened yet. So I'm really hoping that Bravern is just a really fun satire / parody of mech anime, because so far it's been that. But I'm dreading the reveal. We could watch it later if you want. Like I actually really like the first episode is very strong.
I don't know if
Okay.
I'm down today, but I might be convinced.
Sure.
Yeah, I'm giving myself psychic damage by watching Shogun. So
Ooh.
no.
Oh.
Wait, do you not know about
Oh.
Shogun?
No, I don't.
Is that
So
a Hulu
Shogun-
show?
So no. So it's an adaptation of this guy's novel set. Okay, let me at least get this guy's name. I just don't care for this so much that I'm just like, ugh, because it's part of this book series called like the Asian Saga.
Oh,
it is
this
a Hulu show.
This
Oh
is,
yeah, it is now. Yeah,
I know the
it's by
book.
it's by James Clavell or whatever, Clavel. But basically, it is a historical fiction novel set during the Sengoku period. Right. It's like it's kind of like comparing it to Neo, if you know what I mean. It's supposed to be about, like William
Oh.
Adams and stuff.
Yeah.
But it's basically about that short period of time. I think it's before Sekigahara, if I'm remembering this correctly, but I could be completely wrong. And someone in the comments is gonna be like, "You got it wrong, therefore your opinion is not correct." But basically, it stars John Blackthorne, a white man who washes up on the shore of Japan and gets embroiled in like conflict between two different factions, basically because the Catholics want a foothold in Japan, but the Christians do as well, etc., etc., etc. The thing with this book is that it's really Orientalist. Like, it goes so far as to sort of cast a blanket over all Japanese women being submissive and good at sex, and there are definitely parts of the book where people comment on how big and white the main character's penis is.
They're always saying that to me.
Yeah. Damn, Cullen.
I know.
Yeah. And so like there's this new adaptation. It has Hiroyuki Sanada, who was in like The Last Samurai and was in like the John Wick movies and stuff, and he's a fantastic actor. I actually really liked him in this one movie where he played Anthony Hopkins' like lover. It's just like a drama or whatever. Um, but um, it's really Orientalist, and I'm surprised that's not being discussed a bunch because the production quality of the show was really good. But I also think it's because Sanada is also a producer on the show, but I was reading his interviews about it, and he's really just like, I want to show Hollywood that they should be hiring more Japanese actors, and I'm introducing new talent. And I think that's commendable and admirable, even if this show is continually giving me psychic damage.
Can I read you a quote found on James Clavel's Wikipedia page?
Okay, go for it.
See, I'll read the whole thing as presented.
Okay.
I can
English
hear
accent,
the glasses
please.
on your face, by the way.
This is for Ayn Rand, one of the real true talents of this earth, for which many, many thanks.
I'm gonna kill myself. Sorry, guys. First and only episode. Goodbye.
So,
Oh my god.
probably would not
These
have been a
books are so
fan
old.
of the BioShock series. And tie it back to games.
Yeah, BioShock Infinite, terrible game.
Never played it.
I haven't played a single BioShock except for BioShock 2's multiplayer, where friends and I got to the top of the leaderboards for like the first week it was out.
Have you played System Shock?
Oh,
No.
System Shock is so cool. That remake's really fun.
Then you've played BioShock. Then you've played BioShock. It's just way better than BioShock.
Night Dive. When you making System Shock 2 enhanced? When you gonna do it? Give me it. Give me that. You said you were gonna make it with the remake. Give me that. Keep up the good work. But give me that already.
We love it. Good remakes, fun remakes, adaptations. We love it all. We want to just
we have
shove
to
into our
pretty
mouths.
much.
Yeah.
Everything's an adaptation or a remake. So that's why you have to appreciate when they're good.
Yeah, I just wish there were more original IPs and stuff out there.
Me too.
I'm
You know what's really
glad you
fucked
told me
up?
about Shogun. I had who recommended Shogun to me for the longest time, and I had no idea that Shogun was like Orientalist.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, it's Japanese history is told through the lens of like a white guy. But costume design really good. Show very pretty. And game analogy, man, cry, game good, it's kind of like that.
Love pretty visual.
Okay.
Yeah.
It's got the thing all men want, which is watching a man express themselves.
Oh, well, I mean, he doesn't express himself, but it's I think Shogun is skating by in the way that because it looks really good and because actors are speaking Japanese and people think this is like very brave and very bold, that they're moved by it. So the show is good and interesting in the same way that when people play video games and like a man cries in it, game good, game emotional.
Yes.
Yeah.
See, Kazuma, I was curious where you were going to go with that. I saw like the two paths ahead of you. It's like complain about Ghost of Tsushima or complain about Yakuza.
Yeah.
And you went Yakuza, so I'm out in my own mental little bet to myself.
Okay. I mean, I don't really give a shit about Ghost of Tsushima, right? Like, that's like kind of where my career like really began, criticizing that game. But it's a boring game. It's a boring video game, and that's kind of like, and ultranationals are drawn to it, but it's a boring game, and cardinal sin. Don't waste my time.
Fair enough. I love my time getting wasted.
Mhm.
So I'm waiting for it to go on sale for me to like pick it up on PS5 just to see.
Is that going to be your homework?
No, wait. You're gonna assign me homework when we get to that.
Yeah.
So to kind of go
I have to
on,
think of something.
well, you better start thinking fast.
We're going to use this little short segment to plug some creators that we like.
Yes.
So I'm going to suggest the YouTube channels, Broey Deschanel and Mina Lee. They do some really, really good critique, and they cite sources, and it's all very well done critique of modern media, tropes and themes that we see in a lot of popular TV shows, or even things like Mina Lee made a really, really great YouTube video about the loss of third spaces because of capitalism, and I think everyone should really give that video a watch. It's really well done, and they all cite their sources really well and provide credit where credit is due, unlike someone else on YouTube.
Yeah, GC.
Yeah.
Oh. Ah!
I have two friends of the channel in particular who just put out videos today. One Eurothug 4000 put out a video on Siren 2, which is like 2 hours long and goes over everything about that game, even like pre-order material scanned from like Japan.
I loved their Siren 1 video, by the way. They do some really excellent stuff.
Oh yeah. And also, I'm gonna butcher their name, and I feel really bad. I'll just say Mara. Mara put out a video called "Weird Art, Mixed Media, and Unrestricted Access to the Internet." They've been working on that for a while, so yeah, check out both those.
I am going to recommend a bit of a fun one, but one who has some pretty decent deep dives and some pretty like good conversations. It's a video essayist by the name of Darkfry. I can't remember what their pronouns are, so I'm just gonna use they them just in case. And they have a really good video on consumption of art, the consumption of art, and sort of like passively consuming it, and sort of the issues with passively consuming the stuff that we sort of watch or play and what have you. And I think that's a great little video that'll supplement some of the stuff that we talked about today. So go check that out.
Hell yeah. And now for our homework segment, where we're going to assign each other a piece of media.
We don't need to finish it, but we need to at least give it a go. Give it a good college try. So we don't have any structure for this right now, but I want you to imagine like a weapon triangle from Fire Emblem and put each of us on the weapon triangle. I'm sword. I've already forgotten the weapon triangle, so just forget the weapon triangle. There's just a normal triangle.
Sword, axe, lance, man.
Sword, axe, lance. Okay.
Yeah.
So I'm sword, GC is axe, and Kazuma's lance.
Yes.
So I'm attacking GC with Shin Megami Tensei 1 on the PlayStation.
Why?
You know why.
Why must you make me do this? We talked about it the other day. This is just
yeah, it's revenge.
This is a punishment. This isn't homework.
It is homework.
Okay. Fine. SMT1 on the PlayStation. Very well.
You just gotta play like an hour or two at the very least before the next podcast.
Okay.
And then you need to report back on it.
Okay, that's fine. My homework. This can go to the both of you, but
that's cheating.
Because I want to torture him, just a little bit. Kaz, I want you to watch the first episode of Bang Brave Bang Bravern.
Okay.
And I want to know what you think about it, because I want to know if I'm like just hallucinating the opportunity that it has to become just the worst thing I've ever seen.
You know, I respect that, and I'll give it a watch. And Cullen, I'm going to assign you a game.
Oh, okay.
And that's Castlevania Lords of Shadow. You already own it.
I gotta play more of Lords of Shadow?
Yes, you gotta play more Lords of Shadow.
That's easy. I could just like... You would have no idea if I actually played any more of it. Could be like, imagine like a really angry white man, and he's whipping around, and he's got long flowing hair, and it feels like a PS3 game. And you'd be like, really?
Cullen, I used to be a chief influencer for this game series.
All right. I'll play more. I will play more.
See, I gave you an easy one. That's just like 20 minutes, and then you're done.
Yeah, GC has the worst homework out of all of us. I would love that kind of homework, but...
I have to play SMT1.
Oh, you gotta play a really cool PS1 port of a really cool game. Oh,
is it like identical to like the SNES version?
No, it's got like really cool like 3D first-person dungeon crawling, not like the fake 3D.
Okay, cool. Because I played the SNES version before, so
like I want you to think back to the like really like stilted scrolling on SNES. Do you remember that? Do you have that in your mind's eye?
Yeah, I played it like not too long ago.
Imagine it was smooth now, and it looked really cool.
Oh, jeez. I'm so excited.
You don't sound that excited. You should be.
What? No, I'm good. Pay no mind to the burger in my hands.
Put the
Yeah.
burger down.
Well, you want to go back to Shitburger, huh?
I don't want Shitburger.
I don't want to. Don't make me go back. I don't want to go back.
I gotta delete Shitburger off my PS4 hard drive.
I actually
Same.
have to go back. It's not over yet. I'll be eating shitburger for a while.
Episode 1, Infinite Wealth.
There we go. Thank you, Cullen, for the title. And thank you, everyone, for listening. You can find us here at Burnout Podcast. If you want to send us a cheeky little email at burnoutpodcast@gmail.com, give us some feedback. Tell us you hate us. Tell us you like us. Tell us you don't feel anything about us.
Ask
We also-
questions. We might answer one.
Yeah, maybe. We will have our comments and emails moderated. So if you're a little too nasty, it might not reach us. We also have social media channels you can keep up with us. That includes a Twitter, which is at Burnout Cult. We have a Spotify and a SoundCloud, which are at Burnout Culture. And you can find me at JusticeKazi_ on Twitter and Kagenaga on Twitch.
I am Cullen on YouTube, Dr. Cullen PhD on Twitter and Twitch, and Cullen Black on Blue Sky.
I am GC Vazquez on Blue Sky, YouTube, and Twitch, and you can find me on Twitter at GC_Vazquez.
And you can find Craig in the booth recording us right now.
God damn it, Craig.
Fuck you, Craig.
Yeah. Thanks so much for listening, everybody, and we'll see you next time.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.